Welcome back to nurseand.com, and guess what? We're going to interrupt this regularly scheduled program for a bonus. That's right. The Mental Files by Nurse Anne is a drama book series, fictional drama series. And to let you know, book 2 in the series has been released, and also book 3, and not to mention books 1, 2, and 3 in the trilogy edition. So today, I'm going to start off giving you a sample of book 2, which is The Mental Files by Nurse Anne. And book number 2 is Dr. John Doe. If you didn't get a chance, you want to go back and check out book 1. This is a series, and it is here on this site. If you go back a little bit, you'll see The Mental Files, Sheep Among Wolves, Julie's story, and you can start with that first part about Julie's story, and then the second part is Man on the Bridge, and that's all part of book number 1 in the Mental Files book series, which is on Amazon, on Kindle, and paperback. So I'm going to jump into that for you. The Mental Files, Book 2, Dr. John Doe by Nurse Anne. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, and incidents are all products of the author's imagination and used for fictional purposes. Any resemblance to actual events or persons are coincidental. We're going to get started with this. Why was the gray-haired man with a confused look running in and out of traffic, screaming that he was a doctor? Follow Officer Leon, caseworker Lita, and their newest ride-along on the adventure from the street to the healthcare system. Can they figure out who this mystery man really is? And what about Mars, the young man who just narrowly escaped a life of crime that you read about in book 1? Will his negative thoughts pull him down further, or will he find inspiration to pursue new goals? Will Leon and Lita find a way to take their relationship to the next level? Mental health struggles, memory problems, thought strongholds are all raging in this ongoing drama. And what role does God play in the outcome? You're about to find out as you join the frontline workers again for the suspense, drama, action, romance, danger, faith, and inspiration. And I'm Nurse Anne, as a Christian and compassionate advocate on the front lines. I'm presenting this fictional drama series. I'm a certified emergency and mental health registered nurse for 28 years and still going. So I'm going to provide you experienced insight into the ongoing battles, mental, physical, and spiritual. The shifts are 24/7, so buckle up for the compelling ride. Chapter 1 is Runners and Ride-Alongs. Chapter 2, Trauma and Drama. Chapter 3, Adrenaline and Prayers. Chapter 4, Dr. Doe. And there's plenty more chapters, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with Chapter 1. Mars was excited that he had permission to ride along with Officer Leon and caseworker Lita for the mobile crisis pursuit. It was a welcome break from sitting around the house or setting up meetings with his new probation officer. He was hoping to start a new life path since he had just been rescued from the start of a career in crime. Most of his life, he had been easily influenced by stronger male figures since he never really had much access to his own father. So when the creepy predator and crime boss Carlos recruited him a few months ago, Mars foolishly went along, not knowing the intense evil he was getting himself into. Thankfully, the officer, the nurses, and the nice caseworker helped pull him out of the downward spiral. Now he was hoping to make something out of his messed up life. Maybe his mom could stop worrying and finally be proud of him. So when the trio arrived at the busy traffic intersection, they saw a gray-haired and half-dressed man weaving in and out of the cars. Oblivious to the danger he had put himself in, the strange man was screaming to the drivers as they passed by, "I'm a doctor! I'm a doctor!" Perplexed and curious by the strange sight, Mars took his earbuds out and turned the music off. This is definitely more interesting than my video games at home, he thought. Is this the guy we're supposed to be picking up? Asked Leon. He does fit the description that dispatch provided. Let's get out and see if we can maneuver him out of traffic, answered Lita. The young protege was pumped to the next level when Leon put on the flashing lights and directed traffic to come to a standstill. Another shift of search and rescue, thought the single officer. Well, at least I get to work with this beautiful lady again. Ever since they began dating when he met her on their first search and rescue mission, the handsome bachelor could not stop thinking about a possible future with this lady who was so different from his usual quick date girls. Leon knew he was a little rough around the edges, and he was worried he may have scared the caseworker away due to his bouts of impatience with her and his drinking and sports bar routine. Maybe I could start to work on becoming a different kind of man, he daydreamed. Hopefully she's not completely jaded already about me. All right, focus on the mission, he thought as he brought his attention to the task at hand. Sorry, Mars, he told the young man in the back seat. You have to stay in the car, but you're welcome to observe and take notes. Notes? Complained the youngster as he longed to be right in the middle of the action. Sir, called out Lita as they inched closer to the man who had a disoriented look on his face. Startled by the duo coming after him, the older man started to run away while screaming, You know I'm a doctor! Call my office! They'll tell you the truth! Just then a scream slipped out of Lita's mouth when she witnessed the man trip over the curb. Blood started to pour from a wound on his forehead. I'm calling an ambulance, advised the officer. Applying pressure to the man's wound with his first aid kit, Gauze Leon was relieved when he heard the oncoming sirens from EMS. Chapter 2, Trauma and Drama. When the EMS crew unloaded the stranger who was now being referred to as John Doe onto the ER trauma bed, the lead physician asked them for the details. Does he have any ID? Have you been able to locate family? What happened? All we know is he is disoriented and claims to be a doctor. Definitely putting himself and others in danger running in traffic like that, replied the paramedic. The officer is running a missing persons report. As the skilled ER staff completed the trauma survey and prepared this John Doe for a head scan, Nurse Kylina tried to keep him calm. She overheard laughter at the desk as the staff joked, No way this dude is a doctor. Yeah, probably lives under the bridge. As Kylina gently cleaned his wound, she hoped he did not overhear the ridicule whether the premise was true or not. Wheeling him back from the scan room, they passed by the busy ER rooms. Screams of pain, call bells for nurses, family members arguing, and beeping medical alarms clamored for the attention of staff. The noise and excessive stimuli honestly seemed to get John Doe even more confused and agitated. When the nurse attempted to obtain a blood sample, she was able to barely duck in time before the punches and kicks landed in her face. Security and the ER tech quickly put the restraints on the angry patient. Kylina hoped to spend some more time with the frightened man to attempt to help him calm down. Her plans were quickly dashed when she heard her charge nurse yell for her to get ready for the next incoming patient. Another hectic day, bemoaned the exhausted nurse. Chapter 3, Adrenaline and Prayers. After being dropped off from the ride-along, Mars entered the living room and quickly filled his mom, Jenna, in on all the exciting details of his day. With his adrenaline still in high gear, he recounted all the sights and sounds of the police car, ambulance pickup, and everything else in between. His mind was also spinning with a host of new potential career possibilities. Listening intently, his mom also exhaled a sigh of relief. Maybe her prayers were finally coming to fruition. These mentors working with Marge might actually guide him onward towards a better life. Her heart fearfully recalled the close call he had when his drug dealer boss was shot and he heroically intervened to save the caseworker, nurse, and vulnerable patient. She did not know if she would ever have recovered if something happened to her only child. Acknowledging the loneliness and desperation her son felt due to his father not being involved in his life, she offered another prayer of thanks. Thank you, Lord, for this positive role model for my son. This can only be for good, she thought. Maybe these new blessings would help quiet her newfound anxieties about the mysterious car she noticed cruising by their house at night. Chapter 4, Dr. Doe. When the tests were completed and the patient was medically cleared, the ER doctor ordered a psychiatric consult. After meeting with him and unsuccessfully getting a clear story, they labeled him as psychotic. Admission and transfer arrangements were made for the third-floor mental health unit. Kylena called report to her friend Angela, who worked on the psych ward. His medical tests, urine test, and CT scan were negative. His forehead wound has been cleaned and dressed. No new bleeding has occurred. Also, I heard Officer Leon may have located the family. Hopefully they will call your unit and help us solve this mystery man's identity and story. He appears to be in his 70s. He remains confused and continues to adamantly claim that he is a doctor. Who knows? After the transport team delivered him to the ward, the staff attempted to obtain his blood pressure. The elderly man objected with cries of injustice. Hands off me! I'm a doctor! Where am I? This is not my office. Ha! Surely this guy is not even close to being a doctor. Delusional, maybe. Grandiose, chuckled the mental health technician to his co-workers at the desk as he commented on the urine-soaked pants and crazy behavior of the new guy. Settle down, sir, the technician bellowed as the patient started to get agitated. Ignoring the callous attitude of her co-worker, Angela attempted to soothe him and help him maintain dignity and some control. After getting him moderately settled in his room, she walked back to the nurse's station. As she stepped foot in the office, she heard the technician abruptly telling the caller, "Well, since you don't have a name or ID number, I can't give you any information." Then after a few more somewhat heated exchanges with the caller, he hung up before the nurse could intercept the call. "Really? Are you serious?" fumed the angry charge nurse. "This was probably this John Doe's family with information. Did you at least get their number?" "No," was the blunt reply from the jaded staff member. "Chill out, Angela. You know this is just another homeless guy claiming to be someone important." Chapter 5, Rekindled. Leon was determined to get back on the good side of the beautiful and good-hearted caseworker. And that's going to be it for right now for your intro to The Mental Files, Book 2, Dr. John Doe, by Nurse Anne. You can get a hold of that on Amazon. There is Book 1, Book 2, and also Book 3 was just made available, and that is A Tent Under the Bridge. And this is a series, and you can follow the continuing story of all the characters and all the new characters. And then there's also The Mental Files Trilogy Edition, which is Book 1, 2, and 3 together. And as I said here on this podcast site, you can also go back and listen for free to the intro to 1, which is The Mental Files Sheep Among Wolves and Man on the Bridge, and then this one. And then I will also post the intro to book number 3. And while you're waiting, you can also go to my website, nurseann.com, and that's Ann with an E, for more inspirational wellness and creative entertainment with a purpose. There's lots there for you to learn and do and advocate for. In the meantime,